nice, too early. It's really too early.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please? Mr. Banta? Mrs. Frankel? Mrs. Frankel? Yes. Ms. Joya? Mr. Klein?
Present.
Mr. Mancinelli?
Present.
Mr. Rosenberg?
I'm here.
Mr. Stendel?
Present.
Ms. Quackenbush? Here.
Here.
Can you please join me for the flag salute?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Maryland Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, and sent to the Bergen Record and the Community News. The announcements for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, place, and time thereof, was distributed on April 30th, 2014. The items to be discussed during closed work session, which we will be convening into, of June 12th, 2014, may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations and/or grievances, tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. The results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. Could I please have an approval for the minutes for the regular monthly meeting of May 15th, 2014, and the executive closed session of May 15th, 2014?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. We're going to have a presentation of the Thomas Jefferson Middle School Special Education DVD funded by grant.
Okay, let me give some intro comments. First of all, as the board knows, I mean, we've had a wonderful year. We've had so many great things happen in all the areas, and I've tried to share a lot of that firsthand by, bringing a number of students and teachers and other people that are involved here to the board, so you get a first close-up look at what's going on in your district. Tonight is another one of those wonderful moments. We have a relationship with a number of different grant writers. One is Rutgers, and we have what is called an ISKI grant, and it's a grant of inclusion. And Thomas Jefferson has filed with that grant, and they got funding, and they put together with a number of people, and I'm going to turn it over to Sherry, the principal, and have her introduce the players and explain what this DVD is all about, and we're going to get a chance to sit and watch it, and it's absolutely phenomenal. So, Sherry, would you take over?
Absolutely. I'm going to repeat a little bit, but thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I'm really thrilled to be here tonight to talk to you about some of the things that are going on at TJ this year. You're going to share that?
I will.
Okay,
You
thank you.
You want to show it?
Well, if you have a math question, I really think you need to come to TJ, because our math league coach received an award today. Our students placed first place winner in the whole United States in the Atlantic Pacific Mathematics League, and that's granted to Thomas Jefferson Middle School. So we are academically rigorous when it comes to math. Our students love math. They raised $2,500 for St. Jude's just by volunteering to participate in a math-a-thon after school. And they collected pennies and whatnot. We were also granted by the Association of Mathematics Teachers of New Jersey first place in the statewide middle school mathematics contest. So we are extremely proud of all of our achievements and awards and accolades. And I just received these today, and I said, let me bring them and share them. And I knew that you would all be excited. They say timing is everything. So here we go. Timing
Taxes,
is
checkbooks.
everything.
We do everything.
As Mr. Watson said, TJ was the proud recipient of the Inclusive Schools Climate Grant. In 2 years, we have received $5,000. And with that grant money, we have created a Skype ELL. ELL is English Language Learners Pen Pal project. We have also built inclusive school libraries in grades 6, 7, and 8. We wanted our students to really understand and read novels like Wonder, like Stargirl, like Petey, like The Running Dream. We need students to understand the challenges that their peers experience, having a disability or having a sibling with a disability. Our students participated in walkathons, Quack for the Cures, things you might say, what is that? Ask me later. And recreational activities where everyone was able to work together, and we were very proud. Yet, I would tell you that our video production of I'll Be There For You was truly a labor of love. It just didn't happen overnight. It was a year-long project made possible by my ISKI team. I love that. Remember what the acronym is? Who knows? ISKI. Who's listening?
Inclusion.
Not you.
Oh.
Yeah, Inclusive Schools Initiative Climate Grant. Okay, so we created I'll Be There For You. And my ISKI team was comprised of, and here tonight, music teacher, choreographer, the songwriter, and a lot of other things that made this possible. Mr. John Gerisi, who we are thrilled joined us from the high school this year. Mr. Gerisi spent countless hours editing, doing choreography, and filming. And you know, he conceived this and helped us put this into fruition. Also on my ISKI team was music teacher, Mrs. Allison Caravano, and she's here tonight. And I really want to thank her for helping teach all of our Bridges 1, our Bridges 2, and our TJ students the song that John wrote, I'll Be There For You. That's a lot of hours and a lot of patience helping children learn lyrics and movement, and it was a lot of fun. But it was more than just the video. Bridges 1 and 2 came over, and it was more than just Allie and John. The other members of my ISKI team was Mrs. Sharon Gragan. She's our character education coordinator and a special education teacher. And her passion for children is just amazing, as well as my student assistance counselor and character ed coordinator, Mrs. Eileen Yeager. Together, this team created lessons, and they worked with the PE department, the art department, the English department. So when Bridges 1 and 2 came to TJ, all of the children not only participated in the musical, but they participated in lessons as well. So together we embarked on this journey together, but what I really wanted to teach our students was tolerance, empathy, and understanding. For this year, what fun we had. And you know what we had the most fun at? Watching our students interact, where they discovered how much they really had in common. I once read a poster that said, the only special need that I have is to be loved and accepted just the way that I am. Within the TJ community, we seek to create this kind of climate that embraces all of our students' beautiful differences. I want to thank my staff and my amazing ISKI team that's here tonight who made this project possible, along with our friends from Rutgers University, the New Jersey Department of Education, and we've had an invitation by the Office of Special Education who has asked to have our video so they can preview it. For all of them helped TJ make this video production dream come true. And without further ado, John Gerisi and Alec Caravano.
All right, well, I just want to thank Sherry for creating the opportunity to do such an important project and to give all the students in the district an opportunity to shine, have their moment in the spotlight, and but the piece really also has a lot to say about connecting with each other and not only in school but throughout life. So, Al, you have anything to say?
Only that my favorite part about working on this video was watching the 8th grade chorus students interact with the kids from Bridges 1 and 2, and I think Doreen Yates and Margaret Guy deserve a lot of praise, because they were just so welcome and open to the idea, and they were very helpful in helping our kids learn to interact with each other and make new friends. And they were able to interact with each other twice, and the second time around it was really like the 8th graders from TJ were greeting their friends as they walked in, and Angelica was one of the stars of the show. She broke down so many borders that just, you know, or insecurities, and the students just became instant friends with one another, and Angelica and a bunch of the kids together. It was just such a great experience, and I thank you for your support throughout the entire journey.
All right, I think I'll play it.
Play it, and let's we can flip one of those lights off, John. Go in the
One of the great things about working in a public school system is the fact that we take any student that walks through our front doors and we work to educate that student. In the years that I've been in Fair Lawn, we have seen a tremendous growth in our students with disabilities, and we work with our faculty and the administration to develop curriculum and other parts of our extracurriculum that fits the lifestyle and gives these children the opportunities that any child would get in a public school.
Basic human instincts and needs is to be included, to feel needed, to feel like we're a part of something. I think at our school we do have that type of community. We have a lot of differences. Everybody is different, and we need to instruct on that level. But fortunately we have a lot of clubs and a lot of after-school activities that really can include everyone. Some of the great things that have gone on in our school are things like our walkathon, because on walkathon day, everybody's equal. The only difference is what color you are, what character trait you are representing that day. So all the yellows are all yellow, and all the blues are all blue, and all the greens are all responsible, and all the reds are all caring. And it's a great day for uniting everyone and having a really great time, whether you're an honors student or if you're in a smaller class that needs some extra services.
It's really exciting to be a part of this project, and I'm really proud of my students for really taking it in stride. I've seen them come out of their shells, and I've seen them really highlight what their their craft of musicianship is really all about, and how they just welcomed their new friends into the chorus, and how they're really singing about what inclusion is about in this school and in our community.
Last year in my old school in Warren Point, there was this program CI when during lunch we helped people with disabilities, and some people just ignore them, and I felt really special because they actually in the hallway they would talk to me and say hi.
I am a 1967 graduate of this school, and it's remarkable to be able to be part of a project like this that is all about inclusion. As a student in the past here, we didn't have anything like that. And so students that had specific needs or that needed that little extra TLC were often considered just annoying or silly. But as we look back and in retrospect, we understand now that they may have needed some extra time, some preferential seating, some modifications. As I walk the halls, every memory I have of the 3 years that I spent here are bittersweet. And it's a beautiful feeling to know that I'm here to advocate for all those that need.
As a social studies teacher, I have students of all different ability levels in my classes. Some of the activities that we do try to make sure that all students are included in what we're doing. One of the activities that we did this year during our Grease unit, we created a number of different stations that students could select from. So that way they had a chance to try different interests and do things of different types of activities. For instance, one station had a video that students could sit and watch and respond to questions on. Other activities students could select were to act out a play, do something a little more hands-on and physical. Other activities involved writing, so that way students could select the types of tasks that they felt that they could be successful in. But they were also in an environment where they could work with other people. So no one had to work by themselves unless they chose to do so. Because of the wide variety of abilities in my classes, I try to create tasks where all students can have some level of success. So sometimes we do things that involve writing, sometimes we do things that involve art, sometimes we do things that involve a combination of both. We do a lot of discussion, we try to do a lot of different group activities and assignments, so that way the students can learn from each other.
I have students in my smaller language arts classes that experience the same curriculum as their 8th grade peers. And I find that we all work collaboratively together to differentiate and modify for them. And the students are then able to take the skills that they learn in those smaller classes and use them in their larger classes.
There was this one time when I had to help special children play basketball, and I was teaching them how to dribble a ball and shoot a basket. And it was really great because they were really happy, and I taught them something new. And whenever they made a basket, it was awesome because they had a blast, and so did I.
And it's another beautiful day, waiting for that snow to fall on down. At this point in time, would you please stand for the flag salute?
Thomas Jefferson Middle School is a unique community. Inclusion means to be a part of. When students come here from our 3 feeding schools, Milnes, Warren Point, and Radbourne, they come with different abilities. My faculty and staff, they embrace those abilities, and it is our job here to help every student learn. We believe that. That is our vision and our mission. We do not see special ed versus general ed. We see one community of students all together.
Fair Lawn Public Schools is well known for our special education programs, and one of the reasons why I think our reputation has become so spread over the state and outside of the state is because of the inclusion that this district supports for the students. We have exceeded 1,100 classified students in the Fair Lawn Public Schools, and at all grade levels, these children have an opportunity to spend time with the gen ed students, whether they be in certain assembly programs or special projects, or some of the core areas that they get a chance to spend their time in partnership with other students in the core areas, as well as the practical arts, etc. So we're very happy that we can offer all of that to our children here at Fair Lawn.
In 5th grade, I had a friend in my class named Sean. He had a mental disability and he wasn't really like the same as other students, but it was really cool because we all treated him the same and we all had him participate in our activities, and it was like he didn't have any disability at all. And I feel like America and like everyone should do that as a whole, and we should stop like treating people differently because of their disabilities and their differences.
To me, inclusion is much more than a process of providing students an opportunity to participate in activities together in the public school setting. I really think of inclusion as a lifelong journey. I hope that we prepare students not only to connect with each other while they're in school, but throughout their lives. It is so important that as human beings that we reach out to those that are different and accept them and to share lifelong experiences with them. That's my dream. That's my hope.
There
That's phenomenal. That's a lot of talent, a lot of emotion, wonderful, wonderful job. There's a lot of message in that, but there's also a lot of feeling because some of these children are related to some of our folks, correct? So we have really a wonderful journey, as John was saying. He has a lifelong dream in his words. And I think a lot of us in this room, if not all of us, can understand and appreciate that. Thank you.
Any comments from the board? Mike, Jeff?
This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. I'm blown away. I'm blown away, speechless. I used to think, and now it's moved over to TJ, one of the most special things we had going was the classes at Memorial and the special friends, and for as long as I've been involved with the district. And now to see this at TJ, our school is, and I work in a middle school, nothing. But our school is, I'm blown away.
Hi, to our teachers, a personal message. I'm a teacher also. And how many times have we heard, that must be so rewarding, you know, I don't get paid a lot, but that must be so rewarding. We hear that often. And if there was ever a moment where that rings true, I'm sure that this is just, if you never do anything again, then this could, I don't know how to vocalize this because I'm not used to feeling so emotional at a board meeting. What I'm trying to say is the passion and the power that message has to carry anyone for a lifetime of self-reward. But I know that as a teacher and from what I can gauge from you that this is certainly not the end and not the last thing to do. And on a personal note, thank you for making, because I'm part of this board, making me part of this too. That's just, it's a nice bragging point for us too. I appreciate that again. Sorry for this discombobulated emotional thing, but I'm not so used to that.
When you've been around special education 20 years, you get to understand that a mantra of special education is least restrictive environment. Inclusion, on the scale that we saw, expresses the victory of creating least restrictive environment for the entire educational program that we have. We have come another step. At least restrictive environment is what we've created in the whole district. And I hope we keep on doing it.
Do we have a copy of that? Is that possible?
We can.
I have two here.
I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
I wanted to praise the staff because it's very difficult to get everybody on the same page to do the same thing. And this is a total embracement of the inclusion program. And the lessons are not only taught to the students, the lessons are being taught to the staff also, which will be conveyed to their children and so forth. And these are just lifelong lessons that will be carried over and over and over from generation to generation, hopefully. And just a fantastic, fantastic job that's been done in that school.
John, you've done yourself a tremendous job. Production, the singing, the music, the message, it was just superb. The only part you didn't like was the ones. The rest of it was No, I'm kidding, you were great. No, seriously, that was a nice job by everybody, the students, the staff, it was just tremendous. And I wanted to see if we can get that on Fairfield TV. You know? And I think it's gonna be on the website because it's on the film, but I'd like to get it.
YouTube.
Is it? But, so, let's see if we can get it out there.
And TV News already spotlighted TJ.
And it's on their website as well.
Oh, did they? Okay, good, good.
Elise?
No, I just wanted to say, like, you notwithstanding the group that created it, not you speaking, the students, I remember when she was growing, and the students, like, just whoever they interviewed, I don't know if they were chosen, you know, I'm sure they were chosen for what they said, if they wrote something or whatever, but just the message that the children gave, to me, I know students that graduated, you know, older from Memorial where they had the character education, and TJ never had the character education, and we had discussed that, and you know, the bringing it over because it started at Memorial, and then you know you try to infuse it and see how it works, and there was a clear difference between how the Memorial students were more accepting of things that the TJ students, it wasn't that they weren't accepting of it, they just didn't experience it. You know what I mean? Like if you didn't have a particular special education group of students in your elementary school, you weren't even aware that those students were in school. And the fact that now both schools will have it, I think, you know, with all the harassment and bullying and all the crazy stuff that they work so hard to diminish, you know, something like this travels with you, like you said, forever. You know, it just becomes part of your character, and it's just so beautiful to see that.
I wanted to thank you for this. It was wonderful. And if anybody wants to know why we sit here, it's for that reason. And I can't say anything more. I'm just totally blown away. This is the best school district in the state.
Well, don't say anything, just listen, because you have some other things that happen that are outstanding. As you all know, we had a musical not too long ago, Cabaret. I'd like to read some of the outcome of this. First of all, it says, congratulations to the cast of Cabaret for winning 3 Metropolitan High School Theater Awards, including Best Featured Ensemble, the Kit Kat Girls, Best Lighting Design, and Best Overall Production. The most overall production wins 3 times in the history of the Metropolitan Award. Now, Lisa's secretary, executive secretary, has a daughter that participated in that, and then when I came in the day after they were at the Metro, Carol grabbed me and she said, "Did you hear?" I think she was more excited than her daughter when she said when they announced the best overall, we all screamed and cheered in the audience. So it's all over. I mean, we talk about these things all the time. But let me add some of the other wonderful names on here. We have some additional nominations at the Metropolitan Awards, and I'd like to give the students what they deserve by at least mentioning who they are. Here they are. Actress in a leading role was Haley Aversman Sally Bullis. Actor in a leading role, Matthew Marcher, as the MC. He was terrific. He was outstanding. Actress in a supporting role, Emily McGilligan as Fraulein Schneider. Featured ensemble member, Mir Beg as Bobby. Outstanding duet, Emily McGilligan and Trevor Braun. Outstanding instrumentalist, Ashan Shahab in the synthesizer. Outstanding instrumentalist, Rebecca Gabby with the drums. Outstanding orchestra, lobby display, Rhoda Aversa and Liz Twiggs. Vocal music direction, Charles Santoro. Choreography, Tammy Mora and John Gerisi. And scenic design, John Gerisi. And if that wasn't enough, congratulations to the cast of Cabaret, winning 4 Bucks County, now we're in Pennsylvania, we're going to New York to Pennsylvania, Bucks County Theater Festival Awards, including Best Leading Actor, Matthew Mucha as the MC, Best Supporting Actor, Trevor Braun, and Best Supporting Actress, Emily McGilligan, and Best Overall Production. Cabaret also received 4 Paper Mill Playhouse Rising Star nominations for Best Leading Actor, again, Best Featured Ensemble, which is the Kit Kat Girls, I said before, Best Choreography, and Best Orchestra. Rising Star honorable mentions include Best Director John Teresi, Best Supporting Actor Trevor Braun, and Best Overall Production. That's outstanding. I don't know how many school districts have that kind of talent in both our staff and our student body, and it's just wonderful. So I wanted to share that with everybody. Now, you think we had some busy last 2 or 3 weeks? Well, yes, we did. So let me share that with you. May 27th, PTA Council Dinner. I always love that. So always have a nice time at that dinner. We have the officers who are involved. We have the new officers coming in, and we have a nice chat with central office and parents. On Thursday, May 29th, I attended the County Teacher of the Year recognition luncheon with all of our teachers from one of each school. And that same night, we had the flea dinner. All right, you remember that. Very busy. Finishing up the end of the year, park testing was a real treat for all of us, with 4 schools participating in a year-end activity. That's TJ, Memorial, High School, and Radburn. And that went, short term of testing, that went from May 19th, started with TJ, we ended up on June 3rd with Radburn. I'm really looking forward to next year to jump back into the park testing. Finishing up first year of the strong observation model. This year it has been a long year, but I think this district has gotten through that extremely well. Our faculty administration, thumbs up to them. They're doing a great job of that new mandated observation evaluation model. We have various spring concerts taking place in the schools in the last few weeks. On Tuesday, June 3rd, valedictorian breakfast took place at the Fiesta, and I had the honor to be there with our high school principal, our valedictorian, who you all meet at graduation, and the family. On Wednesday, June 4th, attended the last NJSI, I attended the last NJSI AA meeting of the year. As you know, I sit on the executive committee, and I was very happy I went because we voted on the budget for next year, and I had a lot of questions on the budget for next year, but it was a great meeting. June 4th, there was a dinner for Kenda Block, our high school guidance counselor, who was named Outstanding Bergen County Counselor of the Year. On June 9th again, a number of us attended up in the Police Academy, Fire Academy, a gang awareness training. And I have to tell you, this is the 3rd one I've been on over the last 5 years. And every time I go, I sit there and my stomach just turns on the problems that we have in the world and what we have to face. And I learn more and more from the county prosecutor's office. As you know, we go over and meet with them periodically. And this training was eye-opening. And as long as I've been exposed to the training and sometimes, unfortunately, involvement in things, I just can't believe what drugs will do to the human spirit and mind. We attended the Spring Athletic Awards program on Monday, June 9th as well at 7 p.m. Great athletic. We won a lot of wonderful things, division leagues, state sectional titles, individual records were broken by our athletes. It's phenomenal. We attended the Senior Scholarship Awards the very night after, which would be June 10th. We had a number of board members of both, by the way. I didn't say that. We had board members of both of those. That was phenomenal. I think the culmination of scholarships and grants handed out to Fairlawn students, $3.75 million. That's unbelievable. It's more and more. On Tuesday, June 10th, Natalie and I met with the DEAC committee for our last meeting of the year. The DEAC committee is the steering committee that really authorizes the direction that this district will take with the strong model, Achieve NJ, and all of the regulations that go along with that. So that's a very important committee. And as you well know, Mary Wallace, your board member, and peer sits on that with us, so that's great to have her. Tonight, besides this board meeting, we have going on right now the elementary band concert at the high school. First time we have 3 bands playing together. It's Redburn, Warren Point, and Westmoreland. The high school senior prom is about right now. I guess we're serving their fruit cup. About now. That's going on at the same time. Thomas Jefferson Middle School's Character Counts team members donated $1,000 to help fund a wheelchair for Bergen County resident Matt Mazzola, who became confined to a wheelchair after a diving accident. It's always nice to hear how much community service that our kids are involved in. Congratulations to the high school sophomore student Emma Miller. She took 3rd place in the beginners Chinese language competition at the 31st annual Orlando Foreign Language Poetry Recitation Contest at William Patterson. I was thinking Florida. It was at William Patterson University in Wayne. Okay, they moved on. Listen to this. She took 3rd place. More than 900 students from 50 high school and middle schools recited poems. Amazing students. Last evening we had our last student dialogue meeting. There's your student rep sitting there. And what are you going to be next year? What position?
President.
You're going to be president, of course. And we had some board members there, and there was a little teary-eyed there last night too with the ladies. But we had a wonderful last dialogue, and because it was on a night other than a board meeting night, I was able to make that, and it was outstanding. We have some of the best young people around that table, and we had some nice conversation last night. And by the way, they thanked the board for an awful lot, and our students do appreciate what they have. So, I would like to add more, but I think I'll turn it over to the board president so we can get to the agenda. How's that?
Okay.
And thank you again, everybody. And welcome public, by the way.
Any board comments before we go to Mike?
The one thing I want to say to piggyback just on Bruce for a second, our student rep is now interning with the mayor of Fairlawn, so he's going to. I was at a different commission meeting last night, and lo and behold, who's with them? But so good job.
I saw the mayor at the street fair on Sunday, and he had nothing but praise for you. I was trying to think last night who it was that I heard from, and it was Mayor Cosgrove. Okay, superintendent's report. We have a lot of items. I think I'll split it in half. I'll do 1 to 30. Number 1, attendance at conferences, conventions, and workshops. Number 2, summer workshops, summer 2014. 3, approval of extracurricular trips. 4, approval of student, teachers, interns, practicums, field observation placement. 5, approval of district curriculum. 6, approval of required related services for classified students for the 2013-14 school year. 7, approval of bedside home instruction. 8, ESL summer 2014 enrichment classes. 9, approval of the 2013-14 board and superintendent district goals June 2014. 10, payment authorization for superintendent's merit. 11, payment authorization for superintendent's merit. 12, payment authorization for superintendent's merit. 13, reappointment and establishment of annual salary rates for certificated teaching and educational services personnel 2014-15 school year. 14, reappointment and establishment of annual salary rates for administrative and supervisory personnel 2014-15 school year. 15, reappointment of custodial maintenance, grounds, and bus driver personnel, 2014-15 fiscal year. 16, reappointment of part-time bus driver and bus aid personnel, 2014-15 fiscal year. 17, reappointment of part-time non-certificated personnel, 2014-15 school year. 18, reappointment and establishment of annual salary rates for secretarial and clerical personnel, 2014 school year. I will not repeat 14 and 15. 19, reappointment of day-to-day certificated substitutes and bedside home instruction. 20, approval of certificated day-to-day substitutes and bedside home instruction personnel, 13-14 school year. 21, reappointment of day-to-day non-certificated substitutes personnel. 22, approval of non-certificated day-to-day substitutes, 13-14 school year. 23, approval of change in assignment of certificated personnel. 24, ratify personnel rated salaries for extended school year 2014 program. 25, approval of resignation of non-certificated personnel 13-14 school year. 26, approval of leave of absence without pay, non-certificated personnel 13-14 school year. 27, approval of leave of absence without pay, non-certificated personnel. 28, appointment of summer school director, summer 2014. 29, approval of leave of absence without pay, child-rearing certificated personnel. And 30, approval of appointment of certificated personnel. May I have a motion to approve items 1 through 30?
That's someone.
Second.
Comments from the board? Mike?
Since Mary's not here. Number 4. You know, but it's more than what we usually say. You know, our teachers are willing to have student teachers come into their classrooms under very difficult circumstances because they're responsible for their SGOs and their and the new SPPs and the new evaluation system, and they're still willing to do it, and we get so much out of it. The student teachers get so much out of it, and the students get so much out of it. So it's a win-win situation for us. We get to see some of these people in action before, and a lot of them come back and get hired by the district. So I'm very happy to see that. So.
Jeff?
With reference to what Mr. Rosenberg is speaking of, the student teachers, isn't part of the law, if you don't have a student or you don't directly teach that student, 40% of the time said student does not count towards your SGO or SPPs? And being that there's a student teacher in that classroom and picking up about that 40%, then are those teachers then relieved of those scores because of that?
Yeah.
And I was going to also say that many of the models right now for student teaching anyway, it's more of a co-teaching, collaborative experience. So the teacher and the student teacher are really team teaching during much of that time.
I guess I've experienced different things.
It's a good point there, Jeff, that you brought it up. I can make a comparison, because I'm all around the district, Natalie's all around, walking in and out, observing classrooms. Years ago, many years when I was teaching, they had many teachers would get a student teacher, and they would take that opportunity to leave the room. And first of all, you're not supposed to do that. So over the years, that's all changed in most schools. I wouldn't say it doesn't happen somewhere. I can never say that. Today, it's co-teaching and a lot of modeling. Teachers do a lot of modeling in the classroom for that student teacher. There's a lot of writing that goes on. You have the teacher's mentor that comes in to observe and talk how students teach. So there's a lot of teaching going on to that teacher, a student teacher as well, but not alone.
And I'm just going to put one last comment. Mount Thursday University is going towards that model.
Okay.
That's what they are espousing right now, is that student teaching.
Right.
And that's, we get lots of our.
Okay. Thank you.
Police, I was going to say if it's 40% of the time, the student teaching like 10 weeks, that's only 25%. Right? And if they taught, even if they taught every second, which they don't, they start with one class and
I'm concerned for them.
Right, but it's set up so that it's not 40% of the year. It's only like 25% of one.
Okay, very good.
Any other comments from the board? Comments from the public on items 1 through 30? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Mrs. Franco? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Mancinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Aye.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes. Okay, we'll finish out the superintendent's report. Item number 31, approval of summer employment, high school guidance counselor personnel, summer 2014. 32, approval of leave of absence without pay, certificated personnel, 13-14 school year. 33, approval of ASHA remediation, or ASHA, I should say, 13-14 school year. 14, approval of leave of absence without pay, custodial personnel, 13-14 fiscal year. 35, approval of summer 2014 employment for child study team and special education personnel. 36, appointment of community school personnel, summer 2014. 37, approval of extra instructional time for certificated personnel. 38, approval of resignation of certificated personnel, 13-14 school year. 39, approval of summer employment, transportation personnel, summer 2014. 40, approval of PESPA remediation. 41, approval of textbook adoption. 42, acceptance of NCLB grant funds and application submission for the 14-15 school year. 43, approved change of code. 44, approval of PESPA remediation. 45, approval of tuition transportation to special schools providing special education for the 13-14 school year. 46, approval of tuition transportation to special schools providing special education. 47, approval of tuition transportation to special schools providing extended school year special education. 48, appointment of non-certificated personnel extended school year for out-of-district schools. 49, acceptance of grant award and application submission for the fiscal school year of 14-15. 50, approval of bedside home instruction for classified students for the 13-14 school year. 51, approval of required related services for classified students. 52, approval of tuition paying students from sending districts. 54, approval of services provided by Bergen County Special Services Educational Enterprise for special education students. 55, approval of additional required services for classified students. 56, approval of health physical education consultant for the 14-15 school year. And 57, approval of appointment of secretary clerical personnel. We have a motion to approve items 30 through 57.
So moved. Second.
Comments from the board?
Did you skip 53? No. She just included it on your
John?
38. I'd like to wish Christine Lee all the best wherever she goes, because she's providing excellent service to our school district in her tenure here. An explanation of 43 is, this is a change of the state code as to what they call ESL teachers in the past.
No, actually, there's a budget code that was
Change of the budget code.
it's from Fund 11 to 2020.
Oh, that wasn't quite clear, just change of code.
Yeah.
You know, they change the names of positions all the time,
Right.
you know.
Right, that was a
So,
conference that they.
that's a budget code.
They moved it from 11 to 20 or 20 to 11?
11.
11
It
to
was
11.
supposed to be charged to 20, the title.
Okay, understood.
Any other comments from the board? Comments from the audience on these specific items? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Mrs. Franco? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Mancinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Aye.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes. Joanne, do you have any comments before we go to the business administrator's report?
I just wanted to point out, I did speak about this in my update, the one item on capital reserve, our deposit plans. The
deposit of excess surplus to capital reserve. I've given an estimate in my update about what I expect that, after all, our budgeted items are, well, after addition to the capital reserve, then our budgeted items for 14-15 are withdrawn from that amount. I gave an estimate of close to $800,000 that we would have. I will endeavor to get my team, and I will endeavor to get that as high as possible, as speaking with Mr. Mancinelli before the meeting, and pointing out, and he already knew this, and probably maybe everyone knows it, as we go forward with ROD grant projects, we are only responsible for the local share, 60% of those projects, but we are responsible to pay 100% to the contractors and wait for reimbursement from the state for 40%. So it's important for us, for cash flow purposes, to make sure that we have that kind of a cushion in capital reserve for that reason alone. Never mind that it's a healthy position for us to be in, to have money in our facility, to be able to support our facilities going forward. So I wanted to be clear, everyone to be clear, that is a guesstimate at this point, and we hope to meet that and even exceed it, but we won't know what our final numbers are, obviously, until they're audited. We may know that.
Joanne, do you know how long it will take to be reimbursed?
Well, I'm praying that it is not as long as it took when we went through the last ROD grant situation with the referendum with our big building project.
Which was how long?
Well, it varied by district, and it varied by whichever payment we sent in. It was totally inconsistent, I can tell you that. It could be 6 to 8 weeks before you see any money after you send the paperwork in. It's voluminous to send the paper, what they require, and by the time they look at it, some of the certificates have expired, so then you have to start from scratch. And it really was a huge undertaking. We really were very frustrated, not just Fairlawn, all districts were very frustrated. They say that they have a different team, that they've got more people working on these reimbursements this time, and hopefully it's more staggered, we hope. So that their volume isn't going through that channel all at once. I just wanted everyone to understand that we are working toward that number and hopefully surpass it.
I think one thing, we just want to reassure everybody, when we went through that, we did get every penny that we were supposed to get. So it's really kind of perseverance on our side to stay with all the curveballs they throw you with, resubmit this one again, get another certification. And it can tire you out, but we didn't. Yeah, right. So we're committed to getting all of it.
Okay, number 1, second reading adoption of board policies. Number 2, school use. 3, acceptance of gifts. 4, discards. 5, bills payable payroll. 6, bills payable. 7, transfers May 2014. 8, approval to renew athletic transportation contract for the 14-15 school year. 9, authorize employment summer 2014. 10, approval to authorize payment of bills and transfers. 11, capital reserve deposit. 12, community school behind the wheel program. 13, approval to terminate participation under New Jersey State Health Benefits Program Act of the State of New Jersey for prescription plan, prescription drug coverage only. 14, approval to enroll in Benecard prescription benefit program through the New Jersey RX Shared Services Consortium. 15, Board Secretary Report, May 2014. 16, Board Treasurer's Report, May 2014. 17, ratification of FLSCA Memorandum of Agreement. 19, ratification of FLAES Memorandum of Please. Memorandum of Agreement. 18, what did I say? 19? No, I think
It was different on yours, huh?
No, I'm sorry. May I have a motion to approve 1 through 18?
So, second.
Comments from the board? Mark?
In lieu of Mary being absent.
We all gotta pick up the slack.
Pick up the slack. Number 3, want to thank Windcrest PTO for the generosity of donating the $6,700 for the computers.
Mike?
I'm looking at number 2. And first of all, the use of our buildings between our use and the town's use and the shared services of our buildings is really nice to see. You know, we stopped some of the nickel and diming back and forth because it's all coming from the same till and shared service. The C, though, you know, it's so nice to see that we continue this relationship with St. Barnabas, healthcare. First of all, it's tremendous for the transition to middle school. It's a tough transition for everyone, but even all the other stuff that we're doing with Barnabas all year long in the way of behavioral health. And, do we do some drug stuff with them too?
We do, and what we will be sharing with you in the near future, Natalie and I have met with Barnabas Healthcare is teamed up with Rutgers, and they have a program that they want to bring in to work with a particular type of challenged child. And they have enough money to do that, but they can only pick 6 districts in the state to work with, and they came to us as their first choice, so they're going to work with us. And we're going to lay that all out to probably early fall, Natalie, right, about early fall. And it was really nice. Natalie has built we know Connie Green is the vice president of Barnabas. We know, we've been working with Connie for a long time. And Natalie has built a very, very good, positive, professional relationship, and I believe part of that has been to cement this ongoing relationship. So it's nice that she's jumped into that role for us.
Yes.
I would like to thank the business office and the personnel office for number 13 and 14. By this simple switch, we have the exact same benefits for the RX, but we're saving between $150,000 and $200,000 a year by switching, and the staff is saving money off of their contribution. So I would like to thank John and Lisa for looking into this, because I know they do it on a regular basis, and it's very nice to be able to save a big chunk of change.
Any other comments from the board? Comments from the public on the business administrator's report? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes, on 1 through 16, I need to abstain on 17 and 18 because my professional affiliations don't allow me to know anything about those 2 agenda items. So I abstain on those 2.
Mr. Mancinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Crocodile?
Yes. Okay, we're going to open up the meeting for public comments. You can comment on anything you wish. I only ask that you just state your name for the record. Yes.
Christina Strasser, Westmoreland School.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I just want to bring to your attention, which I'm sure you're all well aware of, we are bursting at the seams in Westmoreland. We were just told the other night that art and music are going on a cart. And we're losing classrooms very quickly. If you've ever visited our school, we actually turned a closet, actually, I want to say 2 closets. 2 closets into classrooms for all these extra classes that we need. Kids need extra help with math, reading, ESL, and at this point in time, something absolutely needs to be done. That promenade is opening up soon, and if you've ever taken a tour through the apartments over there, they can't wait to tell you about how great the Fairlawn school system is, so please bring your kids. And all of those kids, from my knowledge, all of those kids will be sent to our school. Now, way back in the day, I know, Mr. Watson, you've addressed this issue, where we had a first grade class that was brimming over, and you allowed some students to go to Lindcrest School. Now, I'm now made aware that Lindcrest is now overwhelmed and can't really accept all these extra kids coming into the district. So something has to be done quickly.
We have been, right, we absolutely agree. We have had a work session, several work sessions on adding on to Westmoreland. And we will continue to have these work sessions to see what plan we are actually going to eventually approve to go out to the public for building onto Westmoreland.
Well, just so you know, you have parents backing you, and anything that we can do, either getting information out or, whatever we can do on our end, we're willing to do, because it's very important to us.
When the time comes, we certainly will be asking for your help and support to get the word out, especially to the Westmoreland district area. Mark.
I get kind of nervous when I hear at any time that closets are being turned into classrooms. Because I'm asking you, is this in violation?
No. It's not a closet. I know how they explain it.
Well,
It's a store.
Yeah, it's a storage closet, but it's not like a closet, like a coat closet.
It's now made to look as a classroom.
Yeah, I mean, when you walk into one of the storage closets, it's this big thing, but in the middle, like, we kind of separated it, so it's like a small little classroom, and then when you go around it, it's a storage.
So, let me see if I can add to that, because I was the one who designed it.
Yeah.
So I think I know it. Yeah, I drew it out, Mr. Senko and I sat down and put all the drawings together.
Yeah.
It is a large, old storage. We divided it up, we moved it out, we created a small group, and I want to make sure this is clear, a small group instruction area. Okay, not a classroom, it's a small group, and it's an SGI. And so that helps. They need all the help they can get over there, as they know we're trying to do that. But it clearly is. I just want to set the record that that's what it is. But obviously, it's a concern.
Yeah,
we share the concern.
It's a huge concern.
It shows us, how tight it is over there. And as we know, we continue to speak about it. We have a number of classrooms that are temporarily divided or artificially divided, where we have 3 different services taking place at the same time, and you have adults speaking over the top of other adults and everything. As the board knows, we've talked about this, so I want the parents to know that we have had those conversations. We're going to continue those conversations.
Jeff, and then I'd like to have the gentleman be heard.
You can go first.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Christopher Mercado. I am a parent of Westmoreland child, and real quick, I'd just like to say that I'm a new resident, and after seeing that video, I'm proud to be a parent that has a child in this district. So I just wanted to say that for the record. So I'm learning and being educated to a lot of the issues being discussed, and I'm really concerned about this particular issue. Part of the decision my wife and I made when we moved into this community was based on the fact that we left New York because our school district was being overwhelmed with students. And education was actually between this location and another home that we were on the verge of purchasing. Really, we did a lot of research, and really this school district, I think, was the tipping point. And now to find myself in a situation where, I'm not hearing answers, and I don't know that there is an easy answer, but in hearing of this work groups, I'd like to know what has come out of those work groups. So what's the process? Because as my co-parents have mentioned, we'll do anything necessary. I'm prepared to take, any lead that needs to happen from a parent's perspective to get some momentum and make this happen. But I'm afraid that what's going to happen is the resolution is going to be long after my child's already left the school. So is there anything in the immediate future to address the issues?
We are currently holding work sessions, which I highly encourage you all to publicize in the school and come and hear the discussions that we are having. And yes, it is going to be coming.
Cindy, when are those? Do you have
Do
dates
you
on those?
have
Are they
the
listed
dates
on
or?
The work sessions are public meetings, and they are announced. I believe at the meeting our meeting time tonight, we are going to be setting another work session.
Okay.
So you'll hear it here
Perfect.
tonight. Please go back.
Okay.
Tell your parents and have them come so that they can be informed. They can see how it's working. Mr. Watson will be presenting things. There'll be questions and answers, and you'll see how it's going to come.
So, I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify my question. So I heard that there were several meetings that have already taken place. So my question is more to the point of what has come out of the meetings to date? Where are we? What's happened from, we discussed it to, you know, we had several discussions. Where are we?
Where are we at right
Where
now?
are we at? Okay, here's where we are at. First of all, you have to understand the process, all right? There's a lot of regulations, a lot of law that we have to get through. There's a lot of parties that, depending on the decision and direction this board decides to go in, there's other parties that we have to work with and bring in. Now, I've been through 3 referendums, well, 2 big ones and maybe a third, a little tiny one, but in this district. Not too long ago, 2006, we spent about $36 million in this district putting on additional space at the high school and some of the others. At that point, Westmoreland was not affected. It was not part of the referendum. But what we know and how we get through referendums, you first need to present your issues. And you have to have a statement of need, and it's got to be clearly stated. It's like writing a goal. You come up with what's going on and what's happening, what do you need to correct. And we have to identify it. That's on my shoulders. I have to make that very clear. The board members have all gotten twice floor plans with every teacher and a number of students in every school, every elementary school in the district. We've already had a study on demographics over a 5-year period. What do we expect the impact is of the promenade? What do we expect the impact is of the soon upcoming Radburn area building? That alone, all of that takes time to go in and research that. So we've gotten through that. We're in the talking stages of, we also have to look at, are there, and this is very important for board members, are there alternative plans? Now, I have a feel, which I always do, I eventually make a recommendation. The board then accepts it or votes it down. That's how it works with the superintendent of schools. But what we need to do is understand that every time I make a recommendation, no matter what that is, there's usually money, taxes, everything's tied to it. So we have to be sure that when we make a recommendation, we know what we're talking about, we're not underestimating it. When we go out for a job and then we wind up paying, 10-15% more than what we thought it was going to cost. So you go slow. So we're at the point of giving a lot of history here, painting the picture of the district to the board, having very good conversations, open conversations. And we had a number of what ifs, and that's what you go through. Well, what if we wanted full-day kindergarten, how would that affect the district? And we went through that, we talked about it, and that cost us so much money for more teachers, how much space do we need, et cetera, et cetera. Westmoreland is a little bit of a paradox right now, because it's not just that we all would love to have full-day kindergarten, but you're faced with a crunch anyway. So, we have to figure out what to do for Westmoreland. If we don't go full-day kindergarten, we still have Westmoreland issue. And I think the board is been pretty well informed on history of that and the statistics and where we are with our numbers, et cetera. But what we have to make sure we do, because it's a tremendous impact to the local taxpayer. So we have to be responsible and say, okay, and I think we're in the mode now, is are there alternatives? Rather than building on to Westmoreland, which is inexpensive, it's usually about a minimum of a 1.5 year deal, most likely 2 summers. What are the alternatives? And we're talking about those now, and we're going to get back to alternative possibilities, and do we make a decision to go with a referendum? Now, if we go with a referendum, and the board says, let's go out and see if the community will pass it, we don't just authorize to go and build, we have to authorize a referendum vote and see if the community will accept our recommendation. Now, we've had a few of those out there that, matter of fact, a number of years ago went out for a full-day kindergarten, community voted it down. So sometimes you don't you know, and we thought we knew the outcome, and we missed by just a few votes. So things happen. So we're in that mode. We're looking at what are the alternatives. If we go out, how much is it going to cost the taxpayer on a referendum? We have to figure that out so we can advertise it. We have to bring in bonding attorneys. We have to bring in contract attorneys. We have to bring in engineers and architects to go to the next level. So it's all money. So before you spend all that money, we've got to make sure that we're headed down the right track. And we've exhausted the possibilities of alternatives. And are the alternatives, are they acceptable? Are they reasonable? It's not just where anybody comes up with a wild dream. We'll come up, we talk about it, we measure it. How does that affect one, side of town compared to the other, or, the grade 5 versus the kindergarten, or whatever it might be. So we're in that mode now. We've done a lot of work. This thing never happens fast, so I'm sorry to tell you that, but it's not a fast operation. The last building program, I think it took us 2 years to prepare just to go out for the vote. But we've done a lot of that legwork. So tonight, I'm going to ask for another date to continue that conversation, and that's where we are.
May I have a follow-up?
Sure.
Thank you, and Mr. Klein, thank you for letting me go. No problem. So to follow up and it's a great answer. I do understand that it wouldn't be overnight. So I guess the end goal, I mean, if the parents had their wish, it would be for the addition. But in the meantime, one of the most concerning conversations about losing the art room. Is there, are some of those contingencies and some of those plans, are you categorizing them into, short-term solutions, intermediate? Are you entertaining those as well, so that even for the immediate impact, we can save, not having to bring our arts to a cart?
Yeah. The answer is yes, but it's, I gotta be honest with you, it's limited. If a district was to say, we're making a commitment and application, because we have to make application to the State Department on all of this, we have to get approval, we can't, if we're doing that, we get approval to build, at that point, one possibility, I'm not saying I'm recommending that now, just trying to answer your question, one possibility is you could put up a temporary structure until the building is done. So you might create it. Another possibility is to redistrict. I don't think we haven't made that decision either. But you can redistrict the school district. You can say, okay, let's take a quarter of Westmoreland and just make that over into Forest. And now they're all going to go to Forest. I mean, that's redistricting. You could do that. That's an option. No yes or no has come out of that yet, but that's an option. Temporary buildings are an option. I have to tell you, today, temporary structure, years ago when I did this in another district, many years ago, temporary structures were extremely cheap. Building code has now made it very expensive. Put a temporary structure up, you have to run water lines, and you have to have a fire spray, extinguisher, ins and water sprays. You have to. So just by putting a temporary up, that's extremely expensive. So we're trying to look at, is there another way we can answer the problem? And we're exploring that. I don't have the answer yet, but we're exploring it. Okay.
Can I just ask one question? My name is Lisa Bogues, Westmoreland parent also. I was just curious if you discussed K through 2 schools, 3 through 5 schools, middle school, and then high school. I know there's other towns that do that because they've run out of space, and was that one of the options you were discussing?
The board had gone out to the architects to have a study to see what it would take to take Edison and make it, if it was going to be a full-day kindergarten, that this would be the place where everybody from the district came to attend full-day kindergarten.
Okay.
So we have gotten a cost analysis on that. So yes, we have looked into a redistricting type of thing. If we were to go to full-day kindergarten, how much would it cost to make the building ready for our kindergarten students?
But not so far as saying like Westmoreland and Forest School would share one district, and Westmoreland would be kindergarten through 2nd grade and Forest School would be 3rd through 5th?
Specifically, no, not on that.
Okay, I was just curious about that.
Jeff?
I guess my question was, and I know that's been partially answered, is, and I just, sorry for reiterating the same question I think at this meeting last year, is there anything we could do now? Is there money, emergency funds to for at least a year, alleviate a space problem, whether it be, and I know you explained that you just can't put a trailer in the parking lot without the proper building codes. So I guess I just felt like I needed to throw that out there, because you know that, and I know that we've spoken about this, about some other solutions, and I see that those solutions are also too difficult to overcome. So do we have nothing?
Well, we don't have anything new,
Right.
you know, from the last time we talked about it, you know, so I can't say we've come across anything new. But I think the best move is the next meeting, is I think you have to have a real good explanation and revisit again. I think we should invite the architects to talk about and answer those questions. They're up on all building code with the State Department. They can help us with that. I think the bonding attorney should come in and talk about what it's all about financing this, so the board gets a good feel, again, on financing this. And anybody, you know, we have a financial consultant, which is your auditor, you know, he's there. Paul Green, our board attorney, gets involved with helping us write contracts, so he's there as well. But if we're gonna have a meeting, we should schedule it where we have at least the bonding attorney and the architects coming to help us answer a lot of the questions. You know, because that's specialty items. And that's, you know, you really have to be focused and work in that field all the time to say, is there a inexpensive solution that we could go with that satisfies all building code, all law, all regulation? You know, I don't have that answer.
Okay.
No.
Any other comments from the public? I don't like to. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Joseph Kowalski. For those that didn't go to the student dialogue, I just wanted to thank the whole board for the cooperation between Fair Lawn High School student government and the Board of Education. It's really what makes us a great school, I feel. Also, I wanted to thank you on behalf of myself, like being the Board of Ed rep. I've enjoyed it so much throughout the year, so thank you for that position. And yes, look forward to next year.
Thank you, Joseph.
Elise.
I just want to say that technically, you are the president now.
Yes, yeah, I was sworn in, so.
Okay, move on to old business.
Yeah, just not really, everybody was there, but I thought that the street fair, our tents, our handouts, our meeting with the public, I think went really well. I left at 2:30, so I'm not sure what happened after that, anything exciting, I don't know.
Nothing exciting.
Nothing.
But it was good luck.
Remaining to be
Is
positive.
that because Gene had gotten, he left?
I left.
Because the sun was creeping under our tent and it was starting to get.
As soon as Jean left, we all went for food.
I think it went really well, and I look forward to doing it again next June.
Chuck?
In regard to the street fair, I wanted everyone to know that I was there the whole day except for like 1 hour and one little stroll to get some food, a gyro, and not a single complaint, not one. So good for us. You know, nothing.
Well, I heard some, but it's okay.
Okay.
That's
Nothing.
As soon as you went for food,
Nothing when I went to go get some food. But I felt that it was very positive and a good. I'm glad we were able to get out there and to expose the best parts of Fair Lawn. I do have one other question for old business, and that is with respect to the solar audit and whether or not that's come in and we're ready to go with that.
It's gone in the works, right? Like
We should have the final report, we're
She
told.
just sent me an email.
It's by the end of the month.
Okay.
I have something that has been disturbing me now for a while, and I'm not placing the blame on any of the board members or anyone else, but I think the board has to be more responsive in a more timely manner. And I hear what the staff and parents are saying regarding Westmoreland. Back in September, I introduced something regarding community service for the entire sophomore, freshman, junior, and senior classes to be done. I introduced that they would be doing 40 hours of service each grade. I'm sorry, for the entire for the entire time they were in high school. This was not brought up again until January 30th at a work session. And along with that were a couple of other items that were brought up to be discussed. And I made a suggestion at that time that we need to schedule more work sessions in order to accomplish the vast amount of topics that need to be discussed. And I was put down immediately by saying that this had already been done in prior years and it was a waste of time. People didn't have things to discuss. Well, I think times have changed because there are many, many more things that need to be discussed in a timely manner to have them accomplished. Now, I was hoping that I could get the 5 votes needed for this community service. I don't know if I'm going to get the 5 votes because it's never come up again to be discussed. And as I said, I brought this up way back in September. Elise brought something up a few months ago about senior internship. I don't know really where we stand with that either.
That's been resolved.
It has been resolved.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's going to be implemented in September?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We had a
whole
My-
meeting.
We had a whole meeting.
Okay. My suggestion is that we establish work sessions each month. I don't know what the feeling of the board is. I don't know when you want to respond to this, but I think we need to have more work sessions than what we've had scheduled in order to accomplish our needs.
Does anybody have any?
Yeah, I would just like to say, you're talking about the report that we got that was all about the service and, you know, how it's gonna be implemented, but I don't know if there was like ever a definitive, you know, timeline that was sort of sent out. Like the work was done, but whether it was gonna be implemented in September might not have been clear to Mark.
What report is that?
The one that had all the options and the service and the co-op stuff.
Oh, you're talking
and-
about the senior options?
Right, the senior options, right, like it was presented as, hey, we're gonna do this, but I don't know if there was like a definitive, we're starting this in September and this in January, you know what I mean, so maybe that's, there were some things that might have been started.
After
There
we
was-
came to an agreement that we were gonna start the senior options this year by phasing it in, we were going to hire a teacher to be the coordinator as explained and described. That person was going to teach one class or whatever, and then start working this year, building relationships with all the vendors for placements, et cetera. Possibly get out and work with students that are already there, and then open up in 15 with the whole program.
And the other thing, thank you. The other thing was, now this is an old thing, but you know how we do the agenda? And we read each item on the agenda, tonight we had almost 60 items, and it takes, you know, even if it's half a minute or 20 seconds for each one, it takes a half an hour to go through all of the numbers and whatever. I can remember being at board training where you basically would pass the agenda, and people have the copies of the agenda, and you don't go through every line. If there's questions on particular items, you can say, are there any questions on items 1 to 30? And if there's no questions, you just pass the agenda, and as a board member, we get all the information at home, and if we had a question on number 26, we could say, hey, Ms. Watson, hey, Ms. Lapatina, we have a question on this, or how are we doing that, or why are we doing, whatever. And then that would probably take us 5 minutes, and then we could sit and spend the next, it's 9 o'clock. So we could have spent an hour on having a discussion on some topics that are timely and relevant. And so combine maybe the regular monthly board meeting with a short, because I know we have closed sessions and things like that, but I think that might be time, just because everybody doesn't have enough time to do everything, and because the agendas sometimes are that long, and it is an acceptable way to do the agenda. I mean, I know we've been doing it the other way, but a lot of boards do it that way, so maybe it's time to rethink that. Just a suggestion. Jeff?
Yeah. In general premise, I do agree with Mark, with Mr. Spindell, that perhaps we would all benefit for more discussion on certain topics and to have work sessions. If that's not amendable to everyone, and there are time issues, because we do go to a lot of meetings and go to a lot of functions, maybe that if there are specific items that we want to discuss, those can be created for ad hoc committees to discuss and then make recommendations during that extra time during other board meetings. So that way they can at least have the opportunity to be hashed out and looked at in more depth. And within those smaller committees, if nothing comes out of it, we can say during the meeting, nothing came out of that, and if something did, then maybe that goes to the board as a whole.
The suggestion that Elise made about dealing with the agenda, it's very nice for saving time, but it runs counter to the openness of discussing it in front of the camera. But you've got to sacrifice one thing for another, and we should discuss it. With regard to Mark's issue about community service, we should put it on the next work session agenda and give him some feedback, and all of us feedback on how much community service we already have and how many kids are participating in community service, and whether his proposal would add something that we don't have. Can we get that from Mr. Marcelo? I'm sure, for a work session, but we've got to put it on the agenda for a work session.
Right, they have to have the time to compile the
Yeah,
information
well,
so we know what we're
well,
talking
well,
about.
at the
Because
end
I
of
don't
the
want to
year,
talk about a subject if we don't have any kind of
I
background,
agree.
because we're spinning our heels. And I also don't want to ask the administration to do all of this
Well, the year's
work.
over.
And then, right, exactly. So I haven't got a problem with putting it on a work session. It's just whether or not.
Can we get together for a work session?
We're not there yet.
Gene.
Yeah.
My recollection, only because Joanne showed me the notes, was Mark, we talked about this in September and January, and we were going to, the administration was going to investigate, and then we're going to put it on an education committee meeting. And it doesn't seem like that happened. Got through the cracks, whatever. But, so we can certainly revisit it. I'm not a big fan of the idea, but it's certainly worth a discussion. And, it's not going to get discussed before the end of this school year, so maybe, I don't know when our next work session is. I don't know, Bruce and Natalie have time to put something together, but, I don't want to rush it. But Mark's right, he brought it up in September. It should have gone somewhere before now, but it didn't. And then, you're working with the 14 people on the board and the administration, and things fall through the cracks, so I'm not going to get too upset about it. Elise, as far as the not reading the agenda items, I think you'd save about 6 minutes. So, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think you save that much time. Next time we do it, I'm going to time Cindy. And as far as the work session, are we having another board public meeting in June? Do we need
Yes.
one for?
Yeah, we need one at the end.
And maybe
That's
if
part of what I'm
we
going to
have
talk about.
things to put on, because my recollection is that last meeting in June we approved is not that long.
No.
Just, there's some hirings and a few things like that. So maybe, if we're going to do it in the next couple of weeks, we might have a couple of items to discuss in the work session. So I don't want to lock us into every month we must have a work session, just for the sake of having a meeting. Remember when an old job, they used to have meetings about when to have the next meeting. And I don't want to get into that. But, if we can do it in a logical, methodical way, I'm okay. I just don't want to say, like every third Thursday is the public meeting, but every second Thursday has to be a work session. We have something to discuss, that's fine.
Mike?
I have two things. First of all, as far as reading the titles of what we're doing, I think it's kind of important for two reasons. One reason is, yes, we started with the camera, and the whole reason for having the camera was to make sure we were transparent and make sure that the public is knowing what we're doing. I think it also, reading the agenda item out loud, it also gives all of us a chance to re-look what's going on, what's in this agenda, so that all of a sudden, if a question pops into our head, before we vote on it, we're going to say it. If we don't read the agenda items, I'm afraid that it's just going to be, okay, pass it. And I really think that's an issue. As far as work sessions, and maybe we do need more frequent work sessions, but I just want to remind everybody that sometimes stuff takes precedent. This year, we have a lot of challenges. One big challenge was Westmoreland and full-day kindergarten. And it seems to me that at our work sessions, those two things, the building programs and full-day kindergarten, has really taken a lot of time, which it needs to. They've all been productive meetings. Sometimes things happen in a school district this big that is going to take precedent over a recommendation, and we do have to watch what the administration is doing and how much we're throwing at them to get us the information, and sometimes takes a while. So there's definitely priority of things that we have to make a priority.
Just want to respond, Michael. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Because I'm not responding
Okay.
to him.
I understand the importance of taking those matters that are priority, but that certainly doesn't mean that you forget about the other ones until the priority issues are resolved. There still should be some ability to discuss the other matters as well at maybe some other time or for a shorter period of time, but they shouldn't be swept under the carpet. All of things have to be done in a timely manner. And we owe it to the community. I'm sorry.
I would just, I don't want to ban the ban.
I've never heard that.
I don't want to start. But I just wanted to say that, like the 6 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is, I don't, and I could be wrong, but I think that I'm correct. I don't think the requirement is a work session like we used to have, like every second Monday, right? I don't think that's what the requirement is. I think the requirement is to have some piece of paper hanging up, throw up a topic, and when we get 5 topics, we say, oh, look, there's 5 topics up there. We need a work session. The next time we're scheduling stuff, let's schedule a work session. That's what I think.
That's how we started out months ago.
That's what I think we're looking for. People, if you remember, everybody submitted a topic or two, and then we made a work session, and then we discussed those topics. And some of them, right, and some of them fell off to wherever they fall, and some of them moved forward. So I think that's more what we're looking for. And as far as transparency, I don't know if reading the agenda items makes you more transparent or less transparent. People are interested in what we're doing. There's people here tonight because they have interested in what's going on, whatever they heard about Westmoreland with falling apart, and that was enough. And I've seen your face before. So there's some people that just come because they're interested in what we do, and some people that come when they have an item that they want to either discuss or hear about. So I think that if we're going to have like a work session, and I mean, we used to send it, to the schools what the work sessions are about, and maybe we need to require that the schools hang up a document saying, hey, this is the work session. I know it's on the web, but a lot of people don't look at that every day. There's still people that are walking in and out. Maybe we need to think of another method of distributing that, at least through the school system, maybe to the PTA presidents. I know we meet with them every month. So maybe they can announce it at their monthly PTA meeting or something like that, so.
Yes, Bruce.
I have some old business. I just want to remind everybody, because I'm sitting and listening and it fell through the cracks and that we don't do these things, we sweep them under the rug. I disagree with all of that. Let me remind all of you, going way back, this board spent a work session giving us about a half a dozen items to research and get information on for this year, the best we could, besides everything else we're going on this year. Besides the Westmoreland project, besides the new teacher orientation, the new principal orientation, besides everything we're doing, park testing, technology, having working weekends with people to set up these things. So, if you recall, this board also asked about the band program and why it wasn't going, getting support and what were the numbers, and we spent time, we met, we went back and looked at all the students, we interviewed about 20 students who had interest in setting up. That takes time. We then met with the band parents, representatives, we talked about what we were going to do. We proposed a 9th period to get that. We ran into schedule, it fell through. We had 3 kids sign up for 9th period. Secondly on that agenda was, well, we want all of these options. All right, let's go back. Well, we don't just say yes, what do? We go back and we design a number of different options. That took us months to design it. We brought that to the board. We can't do everything, but it's not forgotten and it's not swept under the rug and it's not falling through the cracks. You got to give us time to handle these things. There's only one me, there's only one her, and there's only one her. And then we got to go out and do all of this while these people are spending 60, 70 hours trying to do this new fandangled observation program and writing everything up. Just give us some time. I hear it. Just give us some time. We'll get it. Now, the next thing on old business is I want to remind everybody that Monday night we have an education meeting. At that meeting is a PLC year-end presentation. We have about 6 or 7. One of them is your BSK kindergarten program. We have a survey. We surveyed the parents. And if I read this, you think we're making it up. The wonderful, wonderful comments are on the survey from the parents. It's the greatest program, my child loves it, on and on and on. So we're going to share that, and we're also going to share you how we ran the program, the data we gathered, which again was a whole new thing for this district. We had to put all new tests together. We went for the bracket because it was a norm test. We wanted a norm test that would be brought in as far as it. We had to make decisions on a raw score versus percentile, maybe scale percentile. People, there's a lot going on. We're not saying, we'll get to it. But I don't want you to think we're forgotten. We didn't forget, okay? So it's going to take time. The next thing we need is we need to pick a meeting for the year end for any last-minute personnel and other items. I'm suggesting Monday the 23rd, if that's acceptable. We have our last meeting on the 23rd. And I'd also like to get the bonding attorney and the architect scheduled and come back for a meeting to continue the Westmoreland and answer all the questions that we all have. Because I can't answer all of them. It's impossible. So if we can come back with another meeting date, and if you want, I know we usually take July off, but because of a possible building program, if you want to come back early in July, and have that meeting so we can at least get dates for those professionals to join us that evening. That might be worth considering as well.
I would like to suggest that we come in July as well. I was going to make that suggestion when we did our meeting dates, because I think that there is a lot of stuff to discuss. And I was also wondering if anybody was opposed to having the meeting, the last monthly meeting on the 26th rather than the 23rd, or if that's not convenient for you. Because I don't want to miss a monthly board meeting, and it's quite possible that I would have to.
What days are those?
It's a Monday and a Thursday.
23rd is a Monday.
And that's the night before graduation.
You want on Thursday the 26th?
I mean, I'll take the majority. If everybody can make it on Monday, then fine. I just can't. You said Monday because that's probably the best for you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
fine.
know the
Never.
architect and the bonding attorney are available.
Okay, never mind. We'll keep it for the.
They're available
They are available that day.
on Monday,
23rd.
23rd?
Okay, fine.
Well, we can have that meeting.
All right, so mark that down then, if we're gonna start our meeting thing
Are we
here.
gonna do a public meeting or
I think we do both.
do a work session and then
We'll do the public meeting first, and
Okay.
then we'll go to the
Yeah,
workshop.
I was just gonna suggest that we started.
Good combo.
Start
Okay.
at 7 with which?
Do I hear
The public, the public meeting.
Oh, have them come after that?
Well, there won't be that much on the agenda. Usually that last meeting is like tops half hour most.
That's by, be here by 7:30.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
What time does the meeting start?
7.
So what's on the agenda for that work session? Westmoreland, and that's it?
That's all, obviously,
Referendum timeline.
That sounds like a
That's
lot,
where the bonding attorney would.
because of if we're having all these people come to talk
All
to.
these people.
The
the bonding and the architects, and we'll see if Paul Green can be here.
I mean, he's not gonna see it. Well, that's fine, I just wanna make sure that, you know, we don't, everybody came here to expect like 3 items and it's just the one thing.
Did you get that meeting then?
Yes.
June 26th at
23rd.
23rd.
Oh, we did.
Messing me up.
June 23rd.
Well, actually, I wanted to do something for, new business, and then we'll do the meetings. Just so that it's not all scattered. But that meeting, I think, was important to, get out, since there was a discrepancy of what we're gonna do. I have one thing for, new business, before I ask anybody else. We received a thank you note. It says, "Dear Mrs. Quackenbush and members of the Fairlawn Board of Education, thank you for the beautiful pen and pencil set. I am very appreciative of this special gift, which marked my 25 years of service. It has been an honor to work in Fairlawn, which has offered me so many opportunities for professional growth. I am proud to say that I am a Fairlawn teacher. With appreciation, Marcia Burke from TJ Middle School." I thought that was extremely nice that she took time to thank us for thanking her.
Okay, is that in there? We had another thank you from, did you bring the box in?
Oh, you mean lesson?
From Leslie.
Oh, then we said reserve.
Yeah, is the card there?
Yes, the card's attached to the box.
Can you want
You want to look at it?
The car.
No.
Come on. Board has a duty to keep the advertised and the public meeting. Action to be taken, followed by more discussion.
In the card. And of course. Thank you. They keep them in the.
So thank you card. Dear Ms. Quackenbush, Mr. Banta, Mr. Rosenberg, Ms. Frankel, Ms. Joya, Mr. Klein, Mr. Mancinelli, Mr. Spindell, and Ms. Wallace. As I end my career here in Fairlawn, I am reminded of all the people that helped to make this community and school system as wonderful as it is. I thank each and every one of you for your hard work and dedication for all of us. I feel privileged to have not only grown up here, but to have worked here as well. I have nothing but treasured memories. Thank you again for all you do. Sincerely, Leslie Shineslight. I just want to publicly say thank you to both of these people for taking the special time out to thank us. I thought it was very, very nice. Okay, new business. Jean.
We, Community Relations Committee had talked about a letter to the editor, year-end, letter to the editor. And Jeff put something together and I edited it. And then he edited some more and Mark made some changes. So we're going to pass it around. It's something we'd like to send to the community news.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks. So we're just going to pass it around. Everybody take a look at it. If it's satisfactory, it's in Cindy's name because you have to have a name. You can't just say the board. Anytime we've ever had a president write, whether it's me or Elise or somebody, the president has to sign. So it's just it's a quick letter. You can take a look at it. No pride of authorship. If you want to change something, it's no big deal. But Mark did write most of it. I did some editing and
No, Jeff.
Jeff did most of the writing. I'm better at editing. I'm better at writing.
Mark, you want to bring your one concern on that you had?
I think I took it out.
Oh, you took it out?
Yes, he did.
Feel free to come to a meeting. Okay, you did.
Yeah, I took it out.
Okay.
And I put a period where it's missing and I changed you.
You to your, I mean, your to you.
And way to way, ways to way?
I think there was a condition.
Instead of a ways, I put ways. Look at it, you'll see.
Okay.
How about that first line of the second paragraph, "We will not rest on our previous accomplishments, and we are planning
Right,
to."
that's what I was talking about. I knew that there was a
Okay.
improper conjunction in
Is there something
So
better
it's
than
correlated.
in the first sentence in the fourth paragraph, than "we are honored to represent you on the school board"? I just don't like the.
You can never ask it.
I'm trying to think.
Okay.
But I don't,
We're pleased as punch.
We feel dumb.
You feel dumpy. In that first sentence of that second paragraph, I think I would say, we will not rest on our previous accomplishments and we plan to meet challenges.
And we,
Just say, we plan to, we are planning.
I like it.
How about "we are privileged to represent you on the school board"?
That's good. I like that. Do you like that? Privilege?
Yeah, because you would feel honored and you are privileged. Or you could also feel privileged, so if you want to make it.
We are privileged.
I mean, I'm not an English teacher.
But
We are elected to represent.
We are.
Anyway, and what, Natalie, you were saying something about this second paragraph? She
Yeah,
said-
the first sentence, you just say, we will not rest on our previous accomplishments and we plan to meet the challenges. Instead of, we are planning. We
Yes,
plan.
that's good, right, actually, we.
I don't know the
How
structure.
about "we are"? We will meet the challenges.
I know structure.
Not that we plan to. We will. We shall.
Yes, we can. Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's not.
All right. How many English teachers are in here? Just, oh, Mayor's not here for that. I know.
Correct that sentence.
Would you mind?
Please feel free
To come to.
to come to it.
Please feel free to come to a meeting. Yes, yes.
Where?
They left out two.
I think attend was better.
Please feel free to attend.
To attend a meeting.
Our meetings.
Well, if it's not, if we're writing it as a board, would it be,
Well, Cindy's,
but then it would, I'll put on that.
she's representing.
We
the
are
board.
privileged to represent you on the school board. Please feel free to attend.
Everything is plural.
You know, we kind of write it as a board and then it ended up.
Shouldn't the ending be City Joe Quackenbush president and underneath it Fairlawn Board of Education?
Yes.
And I don't know if anybody's seen this, the third paragraph, just say, we invite you to download our app. Instead of, we also would like to, what if we just say, we invite you to download our app? Simplify it.
Is app capital? Is app proper or is it?
Special education.
No, is app a proper noun?
It is now.
Yeah, I didn't used to be, but I think it is
And
now.
does
Is app a proper noun?
does app need to be an abbreviation, or is it, or could it be, is it a word?
Isn't app now a proper? Well, if it's proper.
No, I know, I'm saying it, are they a word, is it a word now that you wouldn't want to act like it's, you wouldn't want to put a period in?
That's not a bad idea. I like the recommendation. We should
Yeah,
call it
so
a mobile app. Just to alleviate a little
Oh,
bit.
that's good.
It's Mr. Watkins.
We invite you to.
They don't have
That's
it
what it makes the
capitalized
big bucks.
in, I mean, I just.
In the app store?
In online
Well,
dictionaries.
Legislation.
Yeah, I don't think it's capitalized.
I don't think he's.
Download our mobile app.
That would be sometimes just
I'm writing all
resign.
these down also.
See, I didn't have to say it twice.
Don't
you want me to
do
this and then send it to the community news?
I think that's what the deal was.
Yes.
What?
It's a noun and an abbreviation.
Wait,
It's definitely a word. It's definitely
it's a word, it's a word, it's a word for this century. It wasn't a word 20 years
Words
ago.
get added all the time.
They want mobile in there.
Yeah, put mobile. You're getting all this, Lisa?
It's not officially voted on.
I got it.
Right, it's not that, so we
We
can't.
can't be
I have
taking
it.
Yes.
You have your red pen out there.
He does.
You know, it's, yeah.
All right, so, do you have, all right, so you got it then?
Yeah, I got it.
I'm
Lisa's
red.
got it?
I like the teal
Going to
pen.
community news. And when is the,
Why don't you just turn around and give it to Tracy? Let Tracy edit it.
Looking at us like amateurs.
And Tracy will sign it.
And, community news is, the newsletter.
Like
the
sentence
19th.
by committee.
Okay, right before graduation. The newsletter will be in the community news.
That is BET.
Okay. All right, that's it on new business. All right, so we're good. Lisa's got this, and Tracy will take care of it. Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yes?
I have new business.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
That's okay. I have new business. Two things. One, I don't know how it gets brought up, but as I spoken to some of you and written, I sit on the committee with the town for the prevention of substance abuse. I get emails and I'm privy to, as Mr. Watson had alluded to earlier, an enormous amount of data and facts, which I had neglected to bring for you this evening, about the rising and epidemic of heroin that exists in every town in Bergen County. On my block alone, which is, you know, a typical split-level, nice Fairlawn neighborhood, 2 youngsters that I know of have fallen victim to heroin. One who is now, because of an accident due to it, is in a wheelchair, and is or was, I'm not sure, a Fairlawn student. Another one who has recently graduated, will be going to jail because of making some poor choices with it. So what I just wanted to bring forward is, and I would like to know, because this is a new problem, and especially because heroin has such different addictive characteristics, it seems to me, as I wrote to you all, the game has changed, and I feel that perhaps if we could start creating a discussion, whether it be through ad hoc or whatever, to just talk about what we can do now to begin changing the way we think to combat this epidemic in our town. I know that there are things that exist that are in place, and I think that they were relevant and working. But again, I'll repeat, the game has changed. The drug is very different. I've learned recently, and it's kind of scary, that heroin is cheaper than marijuana, and exponentially more addictive. So I'm hoping that I can just get some support and maybe having at least a conversation to what we can do with our health curriculum or other programs we could bring in to fight this. I also personally have had students that have fallen victim to this, and I can at least not in good conscience vocalize this and implore us to take some steps to combat this. It's scary, and it will eventually, it's a fact, as the police officer said to us in that meeting, it is a fact that it will in one way affect everyone eventually, in every room in this town. So that's what I got. And I have one other thing, I guess, when we're done with this conversation. Thank you.
Okay. There's no doubt about it, because I don't want, it's very easy to say. If I say I'm against fighting heroin addiction, first of all, I'm not against fighting heroin addiction. So anything I say is, I agree it's a problem, and I agree that us as a society have to combat the problem. I believe it is not our job to make the curriculum. It's the administration and it's our job to approve the curriculum or suggest stuff maybe if we don't like what they come forward with. Do you know, I'm questioning because I'm not sure, do you know what the schools have done? I mean, our high school and middle schools have SAC counselors. So I know that they're trained in drug prevention, including everything that's going on right now. And, I think we have to see where we are first and what Barnabas is doing for us, and see if maybe, we're not going to solve the heroin problem around this table. So I can't tell you that no matter what we did, won't, there's still gonna be people that take the drug and make the bad choices. It's been a, drugs is the worst thing I think in our, okay, but I think, Mr. Watson, I would rather hear from you as to what we're doing, maybe not right now, as to what we're doing before we say we're not doing anything, or that we're not on it, because I think we are on it.
But I didn't say we weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
Next year.
Bruce, do we revisit our educational plan, the curriculum for this each year? And then appropriate changes are made?
Yeah, yes, the answer is yes. We spend a lot of money, as you know, planned workshops throughout the summer. And every summer, we take our curriculum, we look at what's coming out, the mandates that are coming out, including mandates for the health and safety curriculum. And we update it, we revise it, and we just adopted, the new curriculum, some changes, so the board adopts that curriculum, but it is a live document, it's constantly being, revisited and worked on. And it's not just because we want to do it, it's also because we have directives to do it, we have mandates to live by. The latest was when we got monitored by the State Department of Personnel Neighborhoods, they come in and they say, when did you revise your curriculum, what date, show us the board minutes, we have to prove all of that, how much Common Core did you put in, et cetera, et cetera. So we're always working on it, that's one. I think the question goes a little deeper, and is specifically, are we addressing the heroin or hard drug issues? And I can say that, I can only tell you what I do know. Yes, we have a curriculum that, our health curriculum, we address it. We address it with assemblies. We are the only district in Bergen County that has a family program going on, which I can't really get into because it's all confidential. And we work with families that have drug addiction in them. We are working with them. I believe we're the only public school in Bergen County doing that. And that is our partnership on a very confidential level with Barnabas Health. So we are doing more, something very special that most aren't doing. So, I want to throw that out there so it gives you a little bit of a feel we're on it. And we constantly talk to our subject supervisors in that area and what else we're doing. But there's more to it. I mean, we have, Mike is right, and we all have the same concern. I've dealt with families that have drug issues for a long, long time, and in a lot of different ways. One of the things about Fair Lawn School, which is very, very special, is this board has created a drug policy. And I think you should take time to read it, to really see it. But we have a very therapeutic approach for our students. Then if they obviously step out of line more than once, then it becomes disciplinary. So eventually you can get there. The serious cases that we've been involved in, I've shared with you. All of you know what we've dealt with certain families. By law, I have to inform the board. So we're constantly, we have, one of the best moves we made is we have a resource officer in Fair Lawn High School. We have a direct line to a lot of information about what's going on. We know, I'm probably saying too much, but we know the identified buy spots in right over the bridge. I mean, I don't want to say any more than that, but we work with the police very closely with that. I want to, again, every time I get a chance, I want to compliment the Fair Lawn Police, the chief, and all. They're wonderful to work with. They're just terrific. SGO, what's the name? SRO, yeah, SRO officer, Mr. White is phenomenal. We know that we study the law. When we want to look in backpacks, if we want to strip lockers, we know when to do it, how to do it, so it's legal. We do those things. it's not, we're not sitting idly letting this thing happen. I don't, I can't say that we've rewritten our health curriculum to say specifically, all right, there's a rise in heroin use, which we all know. As you know, once a year, I get invited, superintendents get invited to go through a whole, and I bring the high school principal. Matter of fact, Natalie, I brought Natalie last year, and we meet with the county prosecutor, we go through a whole training session, and we knew a year ago that heroin was going to be, the #1 hotspot, in Buy. And we do that. We place cameras in certain areas, which I'm not going to tell you where they are, and we have other things going on, So I think we're doing at least as much as any good school district would do. I'm not going to say we're doing more than other school districts, and there's a lot of school districts that are they're focused on it just like us. And so I like to say we're among those really taking a aggressive stance on it. But we'll continue the conversation, Natalie and I, with the subject matter.
And again, just tonight, just to remind you, because there were quite a few workshops, one of the summer workshops is revising the middle school health curriculum. And I know that some of that curriculum was also updated last year.
Yes.
And Barbara DeCaro is working with our high school phys ed health staff actually tomorrow on some curricular issues as well as some other things. So we do take a look at that all the time.
Please know that I was not suggesting that nothing was happening.
No, I didn't.
certainly was not suggesting that.
No, I did not say that.
Okay.
I did not.
Well, I just wanted to say two things. One thing is there's an overlap because the St. Barnabas people come to often, not to every meeting, but they do show up at those
Alliance.
Alliance meetings. And also we have high school representatives there now, which really changes the tenor of the meeting. And the other thing I was thinking about is, every so often we change stuff up. So like we used to have the family life committee, and then we really didn't need it anymore because all of those curriculums were created. And maybe it's time to, because that had a parent from every school and like one board member, and there was a liaison with an administrative team member who didn't have to come to every meeting but drove the agenda through the board member, and the discussion was held about the family life curriculums at each level, each grade. Sometimes they had movies that, what grade should watch this movie, so the parents would sit and watch the movie. There was a teacher or two, that sort of rotated on it, and it was and I know we do things and then we don't, because we do them as we need them. Maybe it's time to resurrect something like that where you can have like dialogue and discussion, with community members, and then whatever comes out of that gets sort of presented, at the administrative level, and they take from it what the decisions are made, and it sort of integrates. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do anyway, so it might be a nice time to start that up again, like maybe next September. John?
Actually, Bruce mentioned that we have a fairly complete policies, multiple policies about drug intervention and services that use that are therapeutic with regard to drug abuse. You already mentioned that. I think you are a liaison to the Alliance.
I am.
Are you aware whether the Alliance has a special program that they're mulling that we?
I'm not aware of one.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were leading to, but.
No. I mean, it's something that I could bring up with them if the board wants me to. But
no, I thought that was the reason you brought it up, that they were going to.
No, it's just something that it comes up every time, and once it starts coming up, you tend to be more in tune with it whenever something else happens, and it just kind of it piles on, and I didn't want to be remiss in not bringing it up. That's all.
Yeah, just to add hand in hand with our drug policy, we created a number of years ago a position called Student Assistance Counselor, SAC. The role of the SAC is a very, very confidential role, that they build a relationship with a student that has some challenges going on in their life. And part of the policy allows us to do that, where we can recommend that student meet with the SAC. And the SAC will then have a relationship with that student and a family, and clearly recommend a path to take, whether it's going to rehab or it's going to local, day patient care or whatever, to help them. And it stays very quiet, very private. That's what I like about our policy. And we use that when we need it. I think it's one of the better policies that's focused at the human side of caring, and it's a good one. And the positions are good too to have.
Okay,
I had one more, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I know, but this is kind of, you all received this. If not for anything else, I know that a lot of you got this tonight, and actually I prefer that we don't speak of it tonight, because I would like everyone a chance to mull it over. I want you to please understand that my objective for bringing up this program is to begin to discuss alternatives to what we could possibly do to implement more kindergarten for our youngsters. I know that this is, we did use, sorry for the phrase, it's so overused, out of the box thinking. It's definitely out of the box. No one has done this. I did speak with the attorneys at NJSBA. It is legal, there is precedent for it. I think, as I saw from the BSI numbers, that more kindergarten is good for students, even if they're already average. I think the point is to allow them to the same opportunity to move up to above average or to be extraordinary through more kindergarten. I know this is not perfect. I know that it has questions, but I'm hoping that at least we use this as a caveat to, if not implementing something like it, but to at least begin discussions for alternative ideas besides the ones we had previously discussed. I'm comfortable with this idea. I know that there are people who will have philosophical differences to this, being that there are words that can be attached to it that are politically hot in terms of education at this time. But I think it's reasonable, and it could probably cost about half the cost of what was proposed to us last time, meaning $915,000 without building. So please do mull it over. If you want to talk about it now, I'm very happy to. Fire away. I'm thick-skinned now, so I can take it. Or we were going to meet in July. Maybe this is something we could discuss after people have the chance to think about it. I really do hope that please do see it for what it's intended, and see if the pros certainly do outweigh the cons. Perhaps it's a good idea. There will be cons to anything we do. So thank you for looking it over, and shoot me an email, fire away. That's it.
Meetings.
Good.
I have a question. The meeting on the 23rd is, does the athletic committee have to meet prior to that?
Yes.
Okay.
So what should I amend this time to then from? Are we doing the athletics before the meeting on the 23rd?
I have to tell you,
But we have to be there at 6:30, it starts at 7.
I'm very unavailable next week. Very much so. There's a lot of stuff between Ron's dinner and.
What?
When you're not free Wednesday, can you make like a 5 o'clock?
on
I
Wednesday.
have a dinner Wednesday, which dinner is Wednesday? Ron's is Tuesday?
Ron's is
I have a
Tuesday.
Rotary dinner on Wednesday. I could probably before.
Yeah, I'd like to meet because what we want to do is we want to get those coaches on because you've got the summer camps, you've got.
Yeah, I know, you know, just, I mean, this isn't the time, but I just have to say, I was very, very annoyed that this is on a June agenda when fall sports happen in the summer.
No, Mike, we do that all the time. You have.
It's usually earlier.
No. You have coaches who start working with their kids and work with them to go to various leagues. They go watch them, they start talking to them about it. And if we're gonna, you know, we've been doing this now.
No, I thought it should be before June.
Oh,
I'm
June,
not- No, I'm
oh.
saying, I don't believe that
I
we're
got
talking
you.
about this in June
I
and
got you. I got you.
not in April or May,
Okay.
especially when we had an athletic
Got
committee
you.
meeting a couple weeks ago.
So if we're able to meet on Wednesday, what time did you want to meet? Because I'm gonna have to take off the work.
The whole day?
Well, I'm not, is it the 18th you were talking about? I am off from work the 18th.
The earlier the better.
Can we do it, at
4 o'clock.
that puts me from 4:30?
4:10.
4:30, and then I'll just go right from work to it.
4:30, okay.
We can do it.
And when I say take off from work, no, I don't mean the whole day, but it requires me leaving early, and then I have to go in early to make up the time, so.
And where's that
Where are we
gonna
gonna
be?
meet? Do you wanna meet here? Or you wanna meet over there?
We'll meet here.
Okay,
And if this room for some reason is taken, we can meet in my office.
okay.
That's athletic.
And that's
Yeah.
4:30, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I need a Children's Grounds meeting.
Before,
I don't think it needs, it definitely does not need to be before that, the 23rd, it doesn't. People prefer, we can piggyback on that meeting on the 18th.
no, no, because we have a moving, memorials moving up ceremonies that night.
Okay. I'm pretty amendable to whatever dates the other committee members can make.
What's the topic?
It's, again, I just want everyone to be clear that I had spoken with Mr. Watson with this previously, so this is not coming out of left field. At the end, we wanted to talk about potential funding to finally air condition the auditorium, and also to get a handle on both summer projects being done throughout the district.
Well, I wanted to have, when this energy audit is done, we would like to be able to present that. And that, I can't say when that's, if they say it's gonna be to us by the end of the month, but we can do something in the summer.
That, if you
I
can wait
can
that
send
long,
you
then
a
that's fine.
I can send you a
When we
report
meet
on
in
some
July?
projects, that can be a written report.
But the auditorium is something I would really like to speak about, and it's fun to bring that into conversation, and see what kind of funding we can find for that and what can be done.
We don't need to meet on it, we can just, if that's what you want, we can
Right.
talk about that.
I mean, I don't mind just going in, but I know that there's a committee involved, and I don't want to short down the opportunity to get the same information. Because it would have to go through that committee anyway. Yes. So,
Who's on the building committee?
Mark and John.
John.
Okay.
So if they're happy not going in for that, then I can just go in,
Can
but
you meet early, you three, can you come in early? If you want,
I can.
discussion on that.
What day and what time?
You prefer to wait until the other,
I was going to ask for a buildings and grounds meeting once we had the energy audit in our
Because
hands.
it
and that's not,
triggers
that's
all
not
the
doing
budget
twice,
process.
that's not, Joy, that's not a problem.
Okay, so and then at that time,
So we'll schedule that.
So we're not
as soon
scheduling
as
an
I get
actual
the
meeting tonight.
report.
So it'll be somewhere
That'll be
probably,
in July.
you know, that's.
But if you want a list of summer projects, I can get
I would like
that
to see a
also.
list of summer projects,
Sure.
that'd be helpful.
No
And then we can discuss that at the same time.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
So once I get the audit, I'll call you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the education meeting. Anybody else need a meeting before the end of the school year? Okay.
Can I just review them?
Please do.
June 16th at 7 is education. this isn't a meeting, but Ron Mazzagri's dinner is the 17th. The 18th is athletics here at Edison at 4:30. And the 23rd is our regular meeting, followed by a work session. The regular meeting starts at 7 on the 27th.
And 24th is graduation.
Just check, tomorrow, check the calendar, see if it's really starts at 4:30.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Do we have a break?
No, we're going to, we have to recess into closed session, so I'm asking for a motion to recess for 10 minutes
So
before
moved.
we move into.
Second.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
We had a public hearing.
Did we have a public?
Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
5 minute break.
Thank you. Bob, for your time.
Laboratory time.
I can see what you're
Well, you weren't ready to send that letter. I just wanted to.
Hey, Joe.
Oh, that's perfect.
Joe.
Do not
I wasn't
forget.
kidding, you're more than,
That way
you're
since
actually
you're
more
worried
than
about taking those
the
out.
framework of today you are of
Okay.
the town council.
Either or. Yeah, okay.